Because acceptance is not always peaceful at first. Sometimes it starts with looking at your legs, your belly, your arms, your scars, your swelling, or your face, and in the mirror thinking, ooh, I don't know who I am in this version of me yet. And that doesn't mean that you're ungrateful. It doesn't mean that you're vain. It doesn't mean that you're failing, healing. It means that you're human just like I am. Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome to Dear Body, I'm Listening, the podcast for women living with chronic illness, invisible symptoms, and the quiet grief of feeling dismissed in your own body. I'm Donna Piper, and here we tell the truth about healing, the messy parts, the hopeful parts, and the parts no one prepared us for. This is a space for real talk, nervous system safe support, and learning to trust your body again, one breath at a time. Hey, beautiful soul, and welcome back to Dear Body, I'm Listening. My name is Donna Piper, and today we're going to talk about acceptance, resignations, and avoidance. And we're not going to be talking about acceptance like in the fake way, like the fake kind. It's not the kind where someone tells you, oh, you just need to accept your body. And then suddenly you feel like you've been handed a spiritual Post-it note and told to stop being inconvenient. No, today we're going to be talking about the difference between acceptance, resignation, and avoidance. Because these three things can look very similar from the outside. They can all look quiet. They can all look like stillness. And they can all look like, I'm fine. But inside the body, they feel completely different. Acceptance says, this is where I am today, and I can meet myself here honestly. Resignation says, this is just how my life is now, so why bother? There's nothing I can do. And avoidance says, can't not look at this yet. I'm going to pretend it's okay. It's too overwhelming, and I don't want to accept it. I don't want to resign from it, but there's nothing I could do. I feel hopeless. So let me just avoid, and just look at all the other things that are good and skip over all the things, my true feelings about how I feel about my body, about my chronic illness, and about my life. And today is not here to shame any of those responses. There's not one isn't good or bad. If you live in a body that has been dismissed, misdiagnosed, medically gaslit, blamed, or misunderstood, there is a good chance you have used all of these three at some point, and maybe you're going through a series of them like I am today. So, same babe, same, right? And sometimes avoidance is the only emotional life raft you have, right? Like sometimes that's the skill to survive and get through things. And sometimes resignation is burnout. You know, you've tried everything and you just kind of don't know what else to do. And also sometimes acceptance is the first moment that your body doesn't have to fight for you just to be heard. So that's what today's episode is called. Acceptance isn't a white flag. It's not giving up. It doesn't mean that you have to either choose resignations, acceptance, or avoidance. Really, there's nuances between them. And sometimes just accepting that you don't want to accept something is also a key. Acceptance is not a collapse. Acceptance is actually meeting yourself where you are and forgiving yourself for all the moments that happened in this moment and all the moments prior. And it's not that even when you accept something that you don't want to accept, and that's not really how you want the reality of it to be, it's normal. And it's not about saying, okay, now that I accept it, then I'm okay with it, or meaning that I like how it's going and, I don't need to do anything else. I'm not going to be motivated to try to do anything else. It's really about allowing yourself space to deal with all of your emotions, all of the grief, all of the pain, all the frustration, all of the fear, and all of the disappointment. Real talk, the part where we tell the truth and keep it tender. So here's a real talk today. Body acceptance gets very complicated when your body is not just a body that you're trying to love in a new swimsuit. And I would reckon to say that, like anything else in life, it takes practice. It takes a different sort of understanding. Most of the women I've met and worked with in my career, whether it be them coming to me as a therapist or a Pilates instructor or just a friend that also has chronic illness, acceptance is something we all have to kind of keep negotiating with ourselves. I don't think, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but 99.9% of everyone I talk to doesn't really want to accept any of their diseases, because they don't want to have them. We can get to a place where we could be grateful and think that there's benefit. We can find the diamond in the coal or whatever it's called. Or really, if you look at a lotus flower, it grows out of a muddy place. So you can find all of those things. However, there's lots of times when you're in the moment of your life where you don't accept it, and that's okay. It's not easy, any of these diseases that we have. And acceptance isn't the goal, I don't think, that you accept that you have this and this is like you're happy-go-lucky with your life, because there's lots of accommodations, there's lots of things you can't do, there's continual energy and effort towards just doing quote unquote normal things, or just dealing with weather, dealing with a lot of the country right now has a lot of heat. So if you have any sort of dysautonomia, any spectrum of it, you could be feeling the effects. And a lot of times it progresses. Even if you're doing everything else under the sun, your body it's always going to require some sort of attention. And that kind of really effing sucks. Because it's never that you could just be, it's not like, oh, I accept this. And oh my God, I'm frolicking every day. My body feels great. And I only have to do, the minimal things like eat healthy and exercise and find some joy in my life and sleep well. No, there is so much more to this. And I am right now in a state where I'm halfway through my surgeries, or I guess 2/3. I don't know math right now. It's really hot in California for me. So my brain isn't functioning as it should. My body is swollen to God's green earth and back, and I look totally different. I'm used to having bigger lower body, a waist, and, over the last several years, fatty arms. But now my legs are better, or look like normal legs. But when you go up my body, now my waist is being covered by I look like I'm pregnant pretty much 24 hours a day right now. My arms are huge. I just look like I have a square body, not even an apple, from my hips to my shoulders, like a square block with a little head on it. And I was really triggered. I mean, I've been feeling the effects of it for a while. I think I said in my update, and I've said it numerous times. The swelling in my belly is just super annoying me. And I'm trying everything to see what it is, and then also to see if I can reduce it somehow. And I'm out of options right now of what to try. And then I have to go to a formal event on Saturday. And I can't find a dress, because even the go-tos that I would kind of styles and shapes I would go to before, maybe I was always trying to hide my lower half, and that was easier. It's really hard to hide your arms and your belly, and it's hard to look at yourself when the reflection back is like, who is this person? What's going on? And I've spent lots of energy, time, money on feeling better with my legs and getting my energy up. And then I still look hideous in clothing and I don't want to accept it. I flat out do not want to accept that this is where I'm at right now. And I have to because the reality is this is what I look like. This is how clothes fit me. But I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with it. So I'm having some internal tantrums and externally just crying about it because I'm just frustrated with how everything that I've done in my life was always about fitness and health and how can I do things that are best suited for me. I'm not a drinker, I'm not a smoker, I never did drugs, I never smoked. I would have alcohol as a younger in my 20s, but I have never like bought alcohol to drink every night or anything for decades. So those things I don't do. I walk, I exercise, I eat well, and I always have. So the fact that I have all these diseases and I can't even fucking look decent, excuse my language, I usually don't use that explicit, I don't usually say bad words on my podcast, but I can't even look decent for a night out for my husband, for something my husband has to do last minute to go to a formal charity event. And that's really depressing and sad to me. And the only thing I could do is accept that I don't want to accept this. This is where I'm at. That's the only thing kind of getting me out of this. And having, having lipedema and not knowing I had it for so long. And there's so much body positivity and this and that, but it's kind of BS too when you have this because it's you're doing all this stuff to feel better and look better. And if you're not, then it's not a positive outcome. So, you know, I never want anyone to hate the body that they're in, obviously. However, right now I do, and that's the reality. So, no amount of positive talk can get me to accept that this is the body that I want. I can maybe be at peace with it. I can get to a place where I am at peace with it. But right now, I'm not at peace with it. And I don't know if I ever would be. If my body stays this way, I'll have to learn to be happy in it and dress it. But I'm never going to want this body. So, how can I? But then, that's not super happy. That's not really amazing way to live. So, I have to figure that out. But right now, this is not what I want at all. It's very frustrating. It's very upsetting. And I have tons of therapy tricks, spiritual tricks, all these things. And they're not just tricks, they actually do work. And, there is techniques and things to reframe. But when your body is sick and not well for a really effing long time, there are moments where you're just like, I don't like it. I don't want it. And that is also valid. So, the point of this whole podcast really today is that these feelings are also valid. I'm not going to stay here. And if you're feeling the same way, you're not going to stay in the same feeling state forever. But do honor if you are in a dip. I don't think we honor enough. When we talk to people about it, they want to be supportive. So they want to have you see the benefits of other things going on in your life. And I'm not discounting any of that. I love so many other things in my life. And I am unhappy living in my body right now. How my body looks is really bumming me out. And I'm having a super hard time looking at myself in the mirror in clothes and trying to wrap my head around that this is what I actually look like. So I have many options, not just acceptance, not just resignation, and not just avoidance. But usually these three travel with friends they're friends, and it's a slip in between one or two. And, honestly, a lot of people don't I feel the same way that I feel, but then they go to, "Oh, I'm fine." So they kind of go into the avoidance category, or, you know, they're just like, "F everything. If I already look like this, it's not getting better, why continue on this journey?" But that's also not an option for us with chronic illness, because the more we don't manage our symptoms with everything that we do, the worse we get. So we still have to put a lot of freaking effort in, and we may still not get what we want. So it sounds like it's a Debbie Downer episode, and maybe it is, but it's really just kind of more realistic. Like, this is really what's going on. This is why I'm talking about it. I had an interview that got rescheduled for this week. So this podcast was supposed to be an interview style, but this is what's going on because these are the feelings that are underneath all of this. Because acceptance is not always peaceful at first. Sometimes it starts with looking at your legs, your belly, your arms, your scars, your swelling, or your face, and in the mirror thinking, "Ooh, I don't know who I am in this version of me yet." And that doesn't mean that you're ungrateful. It doesn't mean that you're vain. It doesn't mean that you're failing, healing. It means that you're human just like I am. It means your identity is trying to catch up with your body. And when you live with chronic illness, your body can change without asking permission. And that alone can create grief. There is grief in losing what you used to be able to do, or working so hard to something and still not getting there. There's grief in canceling plans, grief in being misunderstood, grief in needing more help than you used to, grief in having to become an expert on the body that other people kept misreading. There's grief in realizing that what you thought was laziness, weakness, aging, weight gain, or being dramatic may have just actually been symptoms. And then when you finally get answers, there can be relief, but there can also be rage, because now you're looking back at years, maybe decades, thinking, wait, I wasn't making that up. I wasn't just bad at being disciplined. Wait, my body was trying to tell me something. And that's a lot to process and hold. So in these dips like I'm having right now, that's also what's fueling behind it. And this is where your acceptance can get misunderstood because, and I thought for years it was kind of like that. You might feel that too. But when you hear acceptance, and you might think that you stop wanting something to change. But real acceptance sounds more like, I can tell the truth about where I am without attacking myself for being here. It's not wanting that thing anymore. And it's not giving up. It's not resignation. And that is different, and that is huge. And that is what's going to help in your nervous system kind of reset. And that's some medicine for it. Because most of us were not taught to just meet our bodies honestly. We were taught to judge them, to fix them, to shrink them, to override them, to biohack them, to explain them, to apologize for them, to make them more convenient. We were taught to treat the body like a problematic employee who keeps missing deadlines. And then chronic illness comes in, and suddenly the whole management strategy collapses because you cannot shame a nervous system into safety. You can't bully lymph into flow. You cannot punish fatigue into energy. You cannot gaslight your way into body trust. And babe, I know, because I've been trying to do it for the last several days. And we've all tried so hard. We tried with diet, with exercise, discipline, and maybe it'll be better on Monday, or I just need to get back on track, or I should be able to push through this. Or the famous, everyone else can do it, why can't I? And for many of us, that didn't lead to freedom. It led to deeper disconnection with ourselves. So acceptance is not saying, I love everything about this. Acceptance is saying, I'm done making myself the enemy. And if you can't accept it right now, like I can't, I'm accepting that I can't accept my body. So I'm trying to not make my body the enemy. And that's the line. And this is the episode. Acceptance is not the white flag. It is not surrendering into suffering. It is surrendering the war against yourself. the connective thread, where the body, story, and science start holding hands. So let's bring in the connective thread here, because there is some research that actually supports what so many of us feel in our bones. In psychology, there is a model called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. And the basic idea is not pretend everything is fine. It's more like, can we make space for difficult thoughts, emotions, sensations, and symptoms without letting them completely run the show? Can we stop spending every ounce of energy fighting reality and instead ask what matters to me and what is the next workable step? ACT talks a lot about psychological flexibility, which is a fancy way of saying, can I be with what is true right now and still move forward with what matters? Not perfectly, not aggressively, not in a hustle culture, no excuses way. We're not doing boot camp for the soul here, but gently, honestly, with room for grief, with room for pacing, with room for the fact that some days the most valuable based action is drinking electrolytes, lying down, and not replying to the text until your brain comes back online. In chronic pain research, acceptance has been linked with better adjustment, less distress, less disability, and more ability to engage in life. And I want to be very clear about something. That does not mean acceptance magically makes pain disappear. It does not mean symptoms are all in your head. It does not mean your illness is a mindset issue. Please do not let anyone weaponize acceptance against you, including yourself. We are not turning ACT into a toxic positivity pyramid scheme here. What the research suggests is more nuanced. Acceptance may help people have a different relationship with pain, symptoms, fear, and limitations. And that matters, because when you're constantly fighting your body, your nervous system often stays braced. It is like your whole system is standing in a doorway with a clipboard yelling, "We're not accepting this delivery," but the delivery is already in the house, like it's already done. So you're yelling at no one. The swelling is here, the fatigue is here, the pain is here, the grief is here, the identity shift is here. The acceptance is not saying, "Yay, I love this for me." Acceptance is saying, okay, this is here. Now, how do I care for myself inside of this? And that is a very different way than resignation, of just giving up or just being forced. Like resignation, I always felt like I was forced to accept it. I wasn't actually accepting, but I had to be forced. And that even makes me a little more upset about things. What resignation says really is, there is nothing I can do. And acceptance says, I may not be in control of this, but I still have choices. Resignation says, my life is over. And why do I have to live like this? Why do I have to look like this? And acceptance says, my life has changed and I deserve support as I learn how to live with it. Resignation says, my body betrayed me. And acceptance says, my body has been trying to survive and I am learning its language. And avoidance says, let's not look at it right now. Let's stay busy. Let's pretend we're fine. Let's order some pajamas instead of compression. Me. Let's watch one of more episode of Dateline and become emotionally invested in suspicious husband named Gary, which is also just me. And listen, sometimes avoidance is not bad. It is a coping mechanism, and it sometimes is protective. And there are moments where your system truly does not have the capacity to process the whole truth. And in those moments, avoidance can be a little emotional airbag. It softens the crash. The problem is when avoidance becomes the whole house. When we never look, never feel, never ask for help, never make the appointment, never adjust the plan, never grieve, never really be honest about how much anger or rage we have about having a chronic illness, never tell our real truth, and never let ourselves be seen. That is when avoidance starts charging rent in the nervous system. And the body knows all of this before we even know it. The body knows when we're ignoring it. It may whisper at first, it may knock, and then it may start banging pots and pans like a toddler at brunch. Not because it's broken, not because it's dramatic, but because it's trying to get our attention. And for women with chronic illness, this is where so much compassion is needed for ourselves, for our situation, or that our bodies are just different, and we may not even have the language to share with ourselves. I know I don't have a lot of language for what I'm going through all the time. It takes me a minute. And then in reflection back, I'm like, oh, that was a symptom, or oh, that was this. Right now, I'm in the rage and grief phase of doing all these things to support my body and not feeling supported back by it. So, and this also has to do with like, okay, I could tell my doctors my symptoms. Maybe they'll take me seriously, but what if they don't? So there's also that to work out, right? And I don't want to hear that, oh, the stress, or oh, maybe it's also your age. Maybe it is, but I don't want to hear it. Or anxiety or hormones. It probably has something to do with hormones right now. But again, I don't want to hear, unless I have get a treatment plan for something, I don't want to hear what maybe it could be, right? Because I could be exercising too much and I could be not enough. There's so many nuances like that. I don't want to go down the road either because I'm just in the moment right now with struggling with to really accept this body and how it looks. So I'm accepting that I don't accept it right now. And as I talk through this podcast, I'm shifting internally as well, speaking it out, whether you can relate, not relate, think I'm ridiculous. You could be giving me all this advice and all of these things, what to look at or towards or beyond right now as you're listening, which is all probably amazing things. But when you're in these states, you really have to be with how you really feel and know that it will change, but you have to stay with the truth honestly first, and then it will change. And these wonderful other paradigm shifts will come in, but not until you're truly ready to hear them and to feel them. Because acceptance does and can feel scary because, you know, a lot of us were told when we didn't get diagnosis, I don't know if you have diagnosis or not, but even before there's something going on, it was kind of like brushed off our symptoms. So it was dismissal because they basically, for years, they were saying, oh, you need to accept that nothing's wrong with you, that all these feelings that you have and all these symptoms you have and all these things you can't do, it's just something else. It's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we could do about it. And that also gets tied up in the energy. I know, at least for me, is acceptance because I know there's something you could do about it. So that's also building up with this feelings I'm having with my own transition with, I think it happens when you lose weight or you say you're obese and you lose weight, or you're doing something for conservative measures for lipedema and you lose weight, or you're feeling better. So your body's changing and you're in this you're in the middle, the thick of it, where you're not quite at the end and you're not at the beginning. You're in the muck of it and all of these feelings and all of these different words and all these stated beings of how to view yourself and your life also are entangled with the past and what's not known yet in the future. So stop fighting. I'm going to try to stop fighting myself. And if you could take a moment and you're in this with me, you could try to stop fighting yourself. Because real acceptance is not being dismissed medically. Real acceptance does not silence your symptoms. Real acceptance gives your symptoms a safer place to tell the truth. It says, I believe you. I'm listening. I may not have all the answers yet, but I will not abandon you while you look. And that's acceptance, not giving up, not checking out, not pretending, but listening. Mythbuster moment, because some of what we've been told is absolute nonsense. So you have the Mythbuster. So today's myth is this: if I accept my body, I'm giving up. Nope, absolutely not. Return that belief to sender. No forwarding address. Acceptance is not the same as resignation. So I said it earlier in the podcast, but we're just going to put a little point on it right now. I think that this acceptance and resignation gets tangled up in chronic illness spaces because we are all often living with things that are uncertain, ongoing, under-researched, dismissed, and not easily fixed. So we think we only have two options: fight the body forever or give up and just deal with it. I've tried. It's not going anywhere. So, okay, this is my lot in life. But there is a third option: relationship. It can be in your relationship with your body. The first thing really is to be real with how you feel. So if you're pissed at your body, be pissed at your body. If you're cool with your body, be cool with your body. And this could be moment to moment, but accept how you feel about your situation and what's going on, and then allow it to move, because you can't just, if you feel like you really need to curse out your body, then curse it out. It's not going to do much, but it's going to make you feel better. You're going to be honest with a place to have your emotions. It's not going to change, but also avoiding how I feel about your body is also not going to change it. So really finding a way, and all of this, all of it is just finding a way to be in a space where you can relate with yourself and your body and in the world. And that's a lot to navigate and to negotiate. So give yourself a pat on the back for however you feel about your body, your chronic illness, whatever you feel about acceptance, resignation, and avoidance. You're doing the best you can with zero or limited resources. So you're doing amazing for everything that you have to do in order to keep your body alive. And your body is doing amazing because it's going through all of these obstacles internally that we don't even know about, and it's keeping us alive. But that is not just a reason to be like, okay, great, I feel better. No, you live in this body, all of your emotions, how you want your life, what your dreams are, they're all important. So allow yourself to really feel how you really feel about your body. There's no one around you that can understand, and just know that I do. It's not about being grateful or not grateful. It's about, this is bloody difficult. And allow yourself some grace to feel the pain, to feel the anger, to feel the resistance, to feel the non-acceptance, to feel the resignation, to feel the avoidance, to feel the eventual acceptance. Or you can go my route and accept that you don't want to accept it, right? There's lots of options, and none of them are wrong. When you're honest and listening with your body, that's all you can do. Feel Good Flow. One small shift, one safer breath, one thing to take with you. So today's Feel Good Flow, we're going to do something very simple. You're going to do the seated, lying down, standing, in your car, before an appointment, in your bed, in your dressing room, like when the zipper has chosen violence instead of peace. And if it feels okay, place one hand somewhere neutral or comforting on your body, wherever that is. It could be your heart, belly, ribs, thighs, wherever. Or even just place one hand resting inside the other. And take a deep breath in, not a dramatic breath, just an inhale. And then exhale a little bit longer. And then do that again. Inhale for a few counts, could be 2, could be 4. And then just exhale just 1 count, 2 counts longer. And continue to do that same sort of just non-structured breath. Just inhale and then exhale just a little bit longer than your inhale, and say to yourself, this is where I am today, not forever. And this is not a life sentence. Just right now, today, this moment. This is where I am at this moment. And then say, I don't have to love to listen to it. I don't have to be happy with where it is. All I have to do is be open to listening. And that's it. Because sometimes we think body acceptance means that we have to feel beautiful, peaceful, so much love, gratitude, and spiritually evolved at all times. But no, babes. Sometimes body acceptance is simply not being cruel to yourself while you're struggling, or just accepting that this is the reality of how you feel. No rationale, no explanation, no need to defend it, no need to justify it. Like, this is just how you feel, and that's it. Nothing else. So try it when you can. Breathe and just find out where you are today in this moment and see if it passes. Maybe it'll be here for a minute, maybe a day, maybe a week, maybe longer, but it will move. Give yourself some tenderness. Say to yourself, I'm here, I'm listening, and I won't abandon you while we figure this out. And if that doesn't feel real to you, just know that I am here and I'll be here figuring this out too. And I also will not abandon you. This is shared education and lived experience, not medical advice, and is not meant to be. Check in with your body, check in with your clinician, and find out what fits your life. So thank you for listening today. Let me know how you feel about acceptance, resignation, avoidance, combination of the few. If anything that I said was triggering or inspires any insight or any need or desire to connect, please let me know. All comments are welcome. And all I have to say is that it's hard. It's hard. But we have tools we can use, and I'm here, and I'm listening. And until next time, have a great week. Thanks for listening to Dear Body, I'm Listening. If this episode helped you feel a little more seen, a little more steady, or a little less alone in what your body has been carrying, share it with someone who might need that too. And remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You've just been living in a body that hasn't been understood. Until next time, keep listening gently.